Thank you very much. So, Dr. Miguna, we've got a couple of questions from our end and our viewers, and we'll need you diligently to answer them, and I'm pretty sure that you'll tackle the questions. Thank you very much, Dr. Miguna. So, what's your expectation in the forthcoming Kenyan general election? Are you seeing any improvement in preparations by the IEBC compared to the previous elections based on the contested results, some which saw thousands of Kenyans killed and others are becoming displaced in their own country?
So thank you, Bernard. I'm not sure my expectations are relevant in an election
You're a Kenyan.
that I have no control over. So I think most Kenyans, at least most reasonable Kenyans who believe in democracy, would expect that these elections should be free, fair, and credible, and that no party, no individual, no candidate is allowed to rig them or manipulate them, so that the will of the people gets reflected on the results. The people should then get the leaders that they actually voted for. Those who get the majority of the votes after they have been counted transparently should be declared the winners. So that's what my expectations are. Whether or not it will happen is, of course, another question. I hope it does.
Thank you very much, Dr. Miguna. My other question is, which role do you think the diaspora should take to ensure not only credible elections are held back in their country, but citizens understand why we always have a cycle of general elections in every 5 years? So what's the role of the diaspora in this?
Yeah, Bernard, I think your connection is not as good as I thought it would be. Mine is good because I connected to the wall, but sometimes your words are muffled.
Okay.
So let me answer the question.
Yes.
The diaspora plays a very critical role, not just in governance, but also in the development of Kenya. So the Kenyan diaspora is an important stakeholder in the elections and in the democratic process. The diaspora also this time will be voting. So number one, I encourage everyone in the diaspora to actually exercise their right to vote freely and make sure that they choose leaders without extraneous influence. Two, I would encourage the diaspora to make sure that they guard their votes, that nobody manipulates the votes from the diaspora. Even if it demands that they stay at the polling station until the votes are counted. It's also important that the diaspora contributes to the discourse and the debate going on in Kenya as to what kind of a country we should have and what kind of leaders Kenyans deserve. That, I think, is important because unless we do, then we won't be able to complain about leaders later on. So that's a bare minimum.
We know that you've really been having some serious problems with the Kenyan government, but we are asking this question just for us to get some more information from your end. Are you by any chance planning to travel to Kenya anytime soon to participate in any electoral position? Because last time you wanted to become the governor of Nairobi County with a very well-detailed manifesto. So do you have any plans in the works, Dr. Miguna?
That question is unfortunate, and I get problems from you and others when you ask questions as if you have not been conscious for the last 4 years. I have not been having a problem with the Kenyan government. The regime in Nairobi violated my rights. That's not having a problem. You should be saying we are aware that the government has violated your rights, which is not just a claim I am making. It's not an allegation. It's been validated by courts of law in Kenya. So it's a fact. The only thing that you would expect is that this regime in Nairobi of Uhuru Kenyatta realizes that power is fleeting, power comes and goes, and that eventually they will be out of power, and that respecting the rule of law and obeying court orders and upholding the Constitution are not privileges. These are not options that they have. They are obligated to do so. So when you ask, am I planning to travel as if you don't know what happened just 3 months ago, it's disappointing to me. Because 3 months ago, I was in Berlin on my way to Kenya, and the Kenya government, as they have done previously, stopped me from going by refusing to lift the red alerts and by refusing to give me the temporary travel document that the court had ordered them to give me. You were alive 3 months ago, and you know what I'm talking about. And if you didn't, you can still Google the information. It's available. And so that's it. So asking me if I'm planning to travel is like saying you don't remember what happened, you disregard what happened, and you are putting it as if I am the one to decide whether to travel or not, when you know very well that I'm being blocked, physically blocked from getting back to Kenya.
I did actually ask that particular question is that, most people, including me, would like to get more information or any current information pertaining your travel back to Kenya. You communicate directly to your lawyers. You communicate directly sometimes to the government, of which you have actually said they have curtailed your travel back to Kenya. That is why we are basically asking that particular question. It's not that we don't know.
No.
Yes.
No, that question is unforgivable. The reason why it is unforgivable is because it is your duty as the media, not my duty as a citizen. It's your duty to get the information, including from the courts, including from the so-called government. The court orders are published in Kenya. They're accessible to you. There is nothing I communicate with my lawyers outside those court orders. You are not governed by the private communication between me and my lawyers. You're governed by publicly available information. So the publicly available information says they have blocked me, they continue to block me, they continue to disobey court orders. You have never asked them why, even though you are a media house. You've never called them to say, look, I live in the diaspora, I run a media house, I have a member whom you have not just brutalized and violated his rights, you have denied him his constitutional and citizen rights. And what are you doing about it? You've not demanded that. And I'm saying that's disappointing.
Understand your pain and your frustration, Dr. Miguna. Yes, we do understand your frustration and pain. And we followed this particular case up to today. Don't think that we have not actually followed it. Why I'm saying like that is that it's true, Dr. Miguna.
These are facts, not
yes.
pain.
Yes. That is what I'm saying. I mean, we understand your pain, Dr. Miguna. Being denied to go back to your country, that is a lot of pain. We understand that. We also followed that information whereby you even lost a very close relative and you are not actually allowed back to the country. So, asking you that particular question, by itself, you've not said, you've said that you are not going to forgive us, but don't think that we don't actually follow the information. But, information is shared every day. That is why we did ask you that question. But we are sorry for that, Dr. Miguna.
I've lost more than 10 close relatives. I have a first cousin called Dan Otienongo right now, who was a director with the county of Kisumu, who is going to be buried this week, that I also lost. I cannot attend his funeral. and I have lost many relatives, so it's not one. But I'm not saying that I don't forgive you. I say it is unforgivable, meaning that it is a very serious mistake that you made. And also, my point is that as a media house, you fail in your duties. Your duty to demand accountability from the government, your duty to source information, your duty to pressurize the government, because medias are supposed to be working in the public interest, including advocating for citizens whose rights have been violated, like me. So I want KDR TV to go beyond where you are currently. I'm trying to make you better. I'm trying to make you first class.
Thank you, Dr. Miguna. That's perfectly okay. We appreciate your accolades and your advice. So, Dr. Miguna, let me also take you a little bit back and ask you a pretty simple question, because many viewers are asking this particular question here. They are saying, Dr. Miguna, why do you think that so many people love you and hate you in equal measure? And somebody actually went ahead and said that, have you ever erred or done a mistake and regretted it later? And or have you been corrected by a friend or colleague, because some people believe you are arrogant and don't listen to advice or counsel? Dr. Miguna?
I can't answer such silly questions because, Bernard, you're a human being, right? Just like me. And all human beings make mistakes. There's no human being who has never made a mistake. There's no human being who has never been corrected. So if somebody says that, they're saying I'm not a human being. Why would I entertain such a person? Why would I give that person a hearing? You see, that's a person that is defaming me. That's not a person I can respond to.
You've answered the question. Thank you very much. Dr. Miguna, our other question is, what kind of leader does Kenya need to spur development and equitable distribution of resources? Does the front runners, that is Ruto or Odinga, fit into that shoe, in your own opinion? And what advice do you give Kenyans as they head to the polls centers on August 8th?
That's a very good question. A very good question. So number one, Kenyans, like any other society, like any other country, deserve leaders of integrity. They need leaders that are accountable to them. They need leaders with unquestionable moral character. They need leaders with visions of transformation, visions of democracy, visions of making sure that the rule of law, the Constitution as written, and democracy thrive, that everyone operates within the law in the country without favor or fear, and that the institutions that are vested with power to exercise in delivering services to the people do so through checks and balances, which means that Parliament is supposed to act to check the executive is supposed to administer within the mandate that was given by the people, and in fulfilling the promises that the party that forms government made to the people. Unfortunately, in Kenya since 1963, we have not had this kind of leaders. The ones that have been closer to what I've described have either been assassinated or have been tortured or exiled or frustrated like they are trying to do to me. So the leaders that we have, I don't even call them leaders. They're those who are holding power, those who are occupying public office, those who are holding the instruments of power, are and have been abusing them for the last 60 years. Raila Odinga and William Ruto are not that significantly different. The only difference between the two of them right now are these. Raila Odinga now has surrendered from what he was before. Raila Odinga for a long time was viewed as somebody who was championing the rights of the majority of Kenyans. He surrendered from the struggle. He has joined the group that has been exploiting Kenyans, oppressing Kenyans, looting from Kenyans since 1963. And he wants the same group that has done this to make him president through fraud. He does not care about election rigging. He does not care about human rights abuse. He does not care about plunder. He does not care about torture. He does not care about what is happening to me, for instance. He's joined Uhuru Kenyatta to fortify the status quo. And fortunately for Ruto, they have kicked him out of the status quo. They have kicked him out of power. They have kicked him out of the government, and they have made him an outsider. Now he's the underdog in the election. Now he's the one complaining about these things that I'm talking about. And because the roles are reversed, the majority of the people in Kenya see Ruto as currently better than Raila Odinga, because Raila Odinga is being used by Uhuru Kenyatta to extend his reign of terror forever. And after that, they want to change the constitution after the elections and create a one-man dictatorship, maybe a three-family dictatorship. And to me, that is unacceptable. And that is why I have appealed to Kenyans to make sure that Raila is defeated badly, so that this experiment Uhuru is trying to fortify can be defeated, and we can stop Kenya from being turned back 100 years back, so that the one-party dictatorship of Kenyatta and Moi are not brought back in the 21st century. That's what my position is.
Thank you very much, Dr. Miguna. And now this begs me to ask this particular question. Are you a typical Kenyan politician who shifts alliances left and right based on personal interest? Dr. Miguna?
Another silly question, because I'm the only one who has not shifted anything. Number one, I have told you clearly that Raila is the one who left the struggle. After I was arrested, and Raila is the one who conspired with Uhuru Kenyatta to arrest me and blow up my house and remove me after torturing me from Kenya, Raila surrendered to those who rigged his election in 2017. I'm not the one who surrendered. Raila did. I'm not the one who shook hands with Uhuru. Raila did. I'm not the one who is promising to follow the footsteps of Uhuru. Raila is the one doing that. I'm not the one who is supporting Uhuru as Uhuru plunders Kenya and makes Kenyans indebted to debt that nobody else has seen. The last 4 years, they have borrowed over 7 trillion Kenya shillings. I'm not the one who is supporting this tragic criminal economic practices of Uhuru of plundering the economy and stashing money in Pandora Papers. I'm not the one doing that. I'm not the one who is saying BBI is good, even though BBI is bringing back the imperial presidency. I'm not the one who is trying to control the judiciary using the ombudsman. Raila is doing that with Uhuru Kenyatta. I'm not the one who is saying that all these tragic events of 60 years are good. Raila is saying Jomo Kenyatta was a perfect president. Moi was a perfect president, even though Jomo Kenyatta and Moi tortured Kenyans and killed them. He's saying, let's forget about the Kisumu massacre. Let's forget about the Wagala massacre. Let's forget about the Anglo-leasing scandal. Let's forget about Golden Bag. Let's forget about the fact that Uhuru has spent 400 billion of taxpayers' money to build a railway, a rail track from Mombasa to his farm in Naivasha. I mean, so how could I be the one that is being accused of shifting positions when I've not shifted? I'm calling the same things I called since I was a boy. I'm still saying Kenyans deserve leaders of integrity. This is what I've always said since I was a boy. I have said democracy is good and must be protected. I've said leaders or rulers must obey the law and must conform to the dictates of the Constitution. I'm saying court orders must be obeyed. I'm saying institutional independence must be guarded. I'm the one saying that, not Raila Odinga.
Thank you very much, Dr. Miguna. It's in the public domain that in the past you've lambasted Dr. William Ruto as a corrupt, inept, thief, and said some unprintable words about him. Why have you changed your heart now and seen him a worthy presidential material compared to his main challengers like Odinga and Kalonzo? I mean, it's ubiquitous, Dr. Miguna. We didn't hear you, Dr. Miguna. Go ahead.
I say it's nonsense because I've not changed. I've called Dr. Ruto corrupt. I still call him corrupt. I did not change. I did not say he's clean. Do you understand? I've not said he's good.
Then why are you telling Kenyans?
Let me answer the question. Let me answer the question.
Go ahead.
Let me answer the question.
Go ahead.
I'm saying Raila is worse. Do you understand the why? Raila is far worse. Okay? Raila betrays his supporters and behaves as if he does not have a brain. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe Uhuru took over his brain and is now just a puppet, the way that Uhuru wants us to see him. Raila betrayed Musando. Raila betrayed me. Raila has betrayed everybody he has worked with. Raila betrayed David Ndi. Raila has betrayed everybody he's worked with. Raila is a betrayer. Between a betrayer, a traitor, and somebody who is bad but does not betray, which one would you pick?
So, Dr.
Nobody would pick. No. Let me finish.
You finish.
Nobody would pick a traitor. Raila is a traitor to the country, and Raila is a traitor to us, the people who worked with him before. And what we are saying is that supporting Raila is tantamount to institutionalizing dictatorship. Because we know Uhuru Kenyatta is the worst dictator since Kenya's so-called independence. So Uhuru Kenyatta should retire, should go home. But Raila is trying to bring back Uhuru Kenyatta so that Uhuru Kenyatta continues to rule like Putin through subterfuge, through Raila as a puppet. And we are saying, no, we would rather deal with a real person. Ruto is his man, is a person. It's easier to fight a person and defeat him than to fight a puppet that is brought to you while somebody else is standing behind him. So my point is this. Raila is worse than Ruto. Raila is a traitor. Raila is a betrayer. Raila is a con man. Raila is a man that you cannot trust. All right? That's my point.
Thank you very much, Dr. Miguna. Those are your basic, that is your opinion. Raila is not here to defend himself, but that is your opinion. But as
you called me for an interview. You called me for an interview. You did not call Raila.
That is okay.
Everybody can only express an opinion, including you.
Perfect. That is what I've actually accepted. I've accepted your opinion. That is okay. But you see, Dr. Miguna, you've been preaching to Kenyans to choose the best candidate for their country. That is what Kenyans actually know about you. But when you are telling them to elect somebody you've actually been castigating, It defeats purpose. That is our point here, Dr. Miguna, and that is why we actually asking you. Go ahead.
It doesn't unless somebody took vacation from their common sense and their brain took a holiday. Elections are being held on August 9th. We know who the candidates are. And we know who has the potential, the probability of becoming president. There are only two people, Ruto or Raila Odinga. Supporting Raila Odinga means I support Uhuru Kenyatta, and I cannot. All right? So the only option is to support Ruto. It's that simple. I cannot support the person who tortured me. I cannot support the person who blew up my house. I cannot support the person who forced me into exile twice. I cannot support the person who destroyed my passport. I cannot support the person who has refused to allow me back into the country. So that leaves me with only one option, William Ruto, to defeat them. William Ruto did not have power in 2017 because he was not the president. He did not command the police. Uhuru did. And I have information that Raila met with Uhuru and agreed that I should be killed, leave alone being forced into exile. It was not Ruto. I have that information. So at a personal level, I cannot support Raila Odinga and I cannot support Uhuru Kenyatta at a personal level. At the national level, I cannot support him either because he's betrayed everything we fought for the last 60 years, even before I was born. So the choices are very, very clear and very easy. We have to stop this cynical machination and conspiracy between Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga to turn the clock back to one-party dictatorship. It must be stopped.
Thank you, Dr. Miguna, for those opinions. I mean, you're a human being. You've got your own opinion. You've got your own feelings. We understand where you're actually coming from, and we can understand that. I can understand your pain. So the best option for you, okay, Dr. Miguna, go ahead. You're muted. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Dr. Miguna.
You are the one. Why do you mute me? You know, if you're interviewing me.
Perfect.
No, if you're interviewing me, I don't want you to mute me. I want you to have, this has to be a free exchange.
Perfect.
It has to be an interview.
Perfect. We got you now.
And if you mute me again,
yes,
I will end the interview.
No, we are not muting you. Sorry,
because we are not going to play games with this interview.
No, we are not playing any game. Sorry, that is basically the technical part. It was just a technical part. Yes.
Make sure your people do not mute me again.
I've told them. Thank you. I've told them.
The question I'm asking is this. You are saying we.
Yes.
Who are you speaking on behalf of? Interviewing me.
Yes.
You have to interview me as Bernard Omweri Kebwato.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
A Kenyan.
Yes.
Don't interview me on behalf of anybody. Interview me as you. Right?
Perfect. We're interviewing you as a media house, Dr. Miguna. It's not my interview. This is a media house, and we are basically asking you questions Kenyans have actually brought forward to us. There's so many questions. Yes.
You are a person. You're a person. When you say we, it's as if you have been sent by a group of people to say what you're saying.
Nobody
has to say I.
Yes,
you have to say I because you're speaking for yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Miguna. But when we started the interview, I told you very well that we've got questions from Kenyans. We are not actually choosing. We are not filtering. We are asking questions, and you will definitely answer them. And you are doing good, Dr. Miguna. I don't have any problem with that.
No. Yes. It's not about doing good.
Yes.
Transparency is very important in communication.
Perfect.
If you have a question from a specific individual,
yes,
say who they are so that I know who they are. Let them not hide behind you. Say so-and-so from this place is asking this question.
Okay, Dr. Miguna, we are not asking we are not asking questions based on individuals. So you can actually even go to your Twitter and actually see the questions, how people are asking those questions there. So let's continue, Dr. Miguna. Don't worry about that. Let's continue. Yes.
Only individuals can ask questions.
Okay.
Everybody has one brain.
Yes.
everybody has only one brain.
Yes.
And only the brain generates a question.
Perfect, Dr. Miguna. Let's continue then.
So whoever they are, I
Yes.
need to know who is asking the question,
Okay.
and I can answer it. But I don't want this kind of, they know who I am, you're
Okay.
putting the question to me, but they're hiding behind you. If it is Makau Mutua asking questions, I need to know it is Makau Mutua. If it is Raila Odinga asking the question, I need to know it is Raila Odinga. And if it is Kebuato, I need to know it was Kebuato.
Thank you very much, Dr. Miguna. It's Kebuato. And the question, I'll actually read you some of the questions from here. And I'll quote the names, Dr. Miguna. So let's continue.
No problem.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Dr. Miguna, you've claimed a couple of times that the Deputy President, Dr. William Ruto, is going to beat Raila Odinga hands down. What's the rationale or statistical trend behind your assessment to support your view? Because the latest opinion polls have now put Raila ahead of Ruto at 47.4% to 43% range.
The first part of your question was good until you spoiled it by bringing in so-called latest opinion polls, but I will answer it.
Yes.
Number one, I have said before, and I'm going to repeat today, that the opinion polls you are relying on are fake. Those opinion polls are put there by Raila Odinga and his group to manipulate public opinion, but they are fake. They are being conducted by Ambitho, okay, and Infotrack, which is owned by Ambitho, who is a member of ODM and a long-term supporter of Raila Odinga and a member of his strategy team. So it is always good in the West when public opinion, when pollsters want to have credibility, they say, so-and-so is our director, so-and-so is our shareholder, so-and-so commissioned the poll, we got paid by so-and-so. So that we know that these opinion poll companies are affiliated. If there are members of what specific party, they should say which particular party they belong to. They can't say that because we know who owns them and we know which political parties they belong to. Having said that, I have been in this political space for a very long time. I have engaged in political strategy for a very long time. I have been a good player in politics for a very long time. I have advised Raila Odinga, so I know him very well. I have been a strategy member in ODM, so I know ODM very well. I also know Kenya fairly well, because not only have I been a political player, I've also run for public office. Now, right now, the way things are, based on available public information, Ruto is by far the favorite candidate in Mount Kenya. That includes Central Province and part of Eastern Province, the Merus, the Mberes, the Embus, the Tarakas, and other people who are in Upper Eastern. That is a huge, huge vote basket. Ruto controls that basket at least 75%. That is why in Kiambu, for instance, which is Uhuru Kenyatta's county, every elected leader has joined Ruto. The senator, Wamatangi, is with Ruto. Kabogo is with Ruto, who was the governor previously. Waititu, who was the previous governor until he was impeached, is with Ruto. Moses Kuria, who is running for governor, is with Ruto. Almost all the MPs and all the MCAs are with Ruto. And so are members of parliament and also people aspiring for leadership. All the by-elections that have been held in the Mount Kenya region have been won by Ruto. So we cannot discount Ruto's influence in Mount Kenya. So that's the first point. The second point, the entire Greater Rift Valley is almost 85% Ruto to 90. All the Kalenjins are with Ruto except for very, 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 very few votes. Now, that contributes a huge basket to the electoral process. Then when you come to Nairobi, Nairobi may either be 50-50 or Raila may be slightly ahead, because Nairobi has always been Raila's base. But the reason why it's almost 50-50 is when you look at the lower base, it's almost gone because the two prominent lower leaders are with Ruto. Ruto has also made a lot of inroads because of his bottom-up economic policy. And by the way, it's an economic policy, even if I don't agree with it. And also what he has done with the border and the informal sector and his message to the poor and the disillusioned and the unemployed and the dispossessed and the oppressed, which is a huge chunk of vote. Also, when you look at the demographics of Nairobi, again, just like with the country, the majority of voters in Nairobi happen to be from Mount Kenya, followed by Luyas and Luos and Kambas, in that order. The point is, Ruto commands a huge vote basket from these bases, demographic bases. When you go to Eastern, the Kamba Nation, it's divided between Ruto and Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta. The only place where Raila still dominates is Luo Nyanza. Kisii is divided, Kuria is almost gone to Ruto, Coast is divided, Northeastern is mainly Ruto. So when you look at that, and as someone who analyzes politics, it goes without saying that Ruto is the leading candidate, and if elections were called today, Ruto would defeat Raila Odinga 70-30. That's what I have mapped out. And when I discuss this with other people who have also been involved in the same political space, they tell me that I am correct in my assessment. So I believe my assessment.
Thank you very much, Dr. Miguna, for your analysis. Let's not actually dwell so much on that, maybe because we'll be having a series of interviews, and we'll definitely have to chant that one so that we can really get the facts on the table and analyze them statistically, which is perfectly okay. So let's continue because of time.
The facts are coming out on August 9th. I mean, that's when the facts will be known. Right now, these are just my opinions. Whoever is coming for the interview will just be their opinions. Now, obviously, on the 9th of August, Kenyans will know whether my analysis and opinions were correct or they were incorrect. And you know, if elections are credible, if I am incorrect, I will accept, oh, okay, I was incorrect.
Thank you very much, Dr. Miguna. You pointed out at least a few. Let me actually ask you this particular question, because somebody already. Let me read the name. I mean, let me read the name, because you've said you want to get the name. Let me get the name so that you can actually get him pretty well. It is called Dennis Kwachwa. I don't know. Okay, that Dennis Kwachwa is asking, do you support the bottoms-up approach fronted by DP and this Kenya Kwanza duo of Musalia and Wetangula? And do you believe the coalition will heal Kenya's problems, as we've heard them claim in various political rallies across the country?
I think I've already answered the question.
Yes.
I have said between Ruto and Raila Odinga, I support Ruto. Between Ruto and Raila Odinga. I did not say Ruto is the best candidate ever since the beginning of time. And I did not say Raila is the worst candidate ever since the beginning of time. All right? Now, I did not say, everybody knows that Miguna believes in the revolution. I believe in the transformation of Kenya from top to bottom, bottom to top, however you want to call it. I believe in the overhaul of the entire system. I don't believe in patchwork, all right? So I believe that the entire Kenyan political economic system should be overhauled from the bottom to the top, should be uprooted completely and transformed. That's what I believe in. But when we compare the puppetry of Raila Odinga, the betrayal with Ruto, of course I support Ruto. I support what they are doing, and I want him to beat Raila so badly that Raila would not be able to come back again into the political fore. That's the position. But I'm not a member of UDA.
Okay. Dr. Miguna, thank you for your answer. Now, let's go and discuss about gubernatorial positions.
All right.
And let me now repeat, if you didn't actually hear me, let me repeat. Let's now focus on gubernatorial races across the country. We might not cover all today, but let's head to Nyanza region and start from there. Do you think that that devolution is working in Nyanza region? Are citizens getting the trickle-down effect for paying taxes? And what needs to be done, Dr. Miguna?
First of all, I don't believe in trickle-down, and anybody who does not deserve my time. Okay? So trickle-down never worked. It's never worked in the US. It's never worked anywhere else in the world. Number two, it's not about devolution. It's about parties and specific governors failing. So number one, if we go to Nyanza, which is where you took me, Nyanza is controlled by Raila Odinga and ODM. So we have to be honest here. Raila Odinga and ODM has failed in Nyanza. The entire place is a mess. Homa Bay, they have been stealing 1,000% taxpayers' money. Nothing has been constructed, nothing has been done in Homa Bay. No employment for the youth, no infrastructure, nothing. No food security. All right? You go to Siaya, the same thing. You go to Migori, the same thing. You go to Kisumu, there is a little bit of development, but other than that, it's a basket case. They are grabbing land from left to right, from top to bottom. Public land has been grabbed all over Nyanza. And this is Raila's base. This is where Raila's word is the law, which means that if Raila did not want this to continue, he would have impeached the governors. At least he would have had his party impeach them. He would have not nominated them, because we know how nominations in ODM works. It's Raila who decides who gets the nomination. But he chose the worst governors. When you go to Western, Raila's governors are the worst performing in Western. If you go to Kisii, Ungwai is a mess. And the other guy, I believe, who died, was it Ngarama or Nyangarama? It was also a mess. If you go to Coast, Joho is a mess. You go to Taita Taveta, the guy is a mess. The guy should even be in jail. The one who impersonated, who forged his degree certificate from Kenyatta University. You go all over. Kidero was a mess in Nairobi. And then you saw after the handshake that Raila was saying Sonko was his best friend. Then Raila was cleaning governors all over the country, including Anne Waiguru, who is now in UDA. But all those are thieves. What I'm trying to say is this. It's not devolution that has failed. It is parties and leaders that have failed to make devolution a reality for the people of Kenya. And it is now time for Kenyans to clean the entire slate and have new people, hopefully, people who would be qualitatively different from what we have today. I saw my friend in Kisii called Simbarati doing very well. I have liked Simbarati. He's been my friend for a long time. He's disappointed me the way he's a sycophant, but I hope that if he's elected, he will be much different from Ongwae. I don't know about Malala, but I saw that they're giving him a certificate from UDA in Kakamega. I don't know how good he will be, and I don't know Ken Obura or his ability to transform Kisumu. I understand that he's running against Nyong'o. I know Gumbo is a workhorse and would do much better than Rasanga. So when it comes to Siaya, I would rather have a Gumbo governor than a Rasanga or any of the people that are being fronted by ODM, because I know his capacity. He used to be my my classmate. I know his capacity. I know he's intellectually capable, and I know that he's a workhorse. He's a man who works. He does not like, idling around. So I hope that there would be a difference. I just hope that they will stop stealing. And I hope that the authorities in Kenya will start working, and if any of these people steal public resources, that they would be brought to account. They would be charged, they would be prosecuted, they would be punished to the full extent of the law. That way, at least it will be an example that if you steal, you go to jail. I can't hear you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Miguna. Sorry for that. Thank you very much, Dr. Miguna. We want to ask you this particular question again. Do you believe that coalescing around one presidential candidate, we've seen them work in Germany, we've seen them work in major democracies around the world. Do you think it will work in Kenya?
Generally, coalitions don't work. Even in Germany, they don't work. So to be frank with you, coalitions don't work. A coalition means you make compromises, sometimes irreconcilable compromises. The reason why coalitions don't work, particularly when it is with people whose ideologies are extremely the opposite of your ideology, is that whose policies are supposed to be implemented. So say, for example, look at ODM and Jubilee and KANU. ODM is supposed to be a social democratic party. That's what they say on paper. Now, KANU is supposed to be an ultra-right party, KANU and Jubilee, which means that this is the equivalent of the Ku Klux Klan in the United States of America or the extreme right in Europe. How could you work together? How can a social democrat work with Ku Klux Klan? So I have a problem with that, because you can see that Uhuru is saying is going to be the patron of Azimio. So which means he's going to be the undertaker. He's going to be the guarantor of the coalition. What does that mean? That means that the ultra-right, their policies and practices would be the predominant exercise if this party were to form, or coalition were to form government. Then look at Ruto's so-called Kenya Kwanza. UDA was just formed, so we may not have a lot to say about it in terms of political ideology, scientifically. But we've had ANC for a while, and we've had Ford Kenya. If you look at Ford Kenya from when Jaramogi was in Ford Kenya, I don't think it's the same party. But if it were the same party, then you wonder how a social democratic party, which was what Ford Kenya was, could work with UDA, which again is extreme right. You understand? I don't know the ideology of ANC. So I can see that both coalitions will have problems because there is no synergy. There's no ideological synergy. There is no philosophical synergy in both teams. And that is going to bring problems, which means sooner or later, the coalitions will collapse. It will probably go back to one-man dictatorship on either side. And then Kenyans may be back to square one. You see, you said that I've changed. I've not. These are things that I've been saying consistently. Just because I say Ruto should defeat Raila Odinga doesn't mean I will gloss over problems on his side. I am not saying this is a perfect coalition. It isn't. Is it the one I would prefer? No, I wouldn't. Are these the preferred candidates I would have wanted for Kenya? Of course not. Far from it.
Dr. Miguna. Okay, thank you very much. Let's go. Let's have a small break as we come back to finalize everything. Thank you very much, Dr. Miguna. Our last question. Do you think that President Uhuru Kenyatta has improved the Kenyan economy, though you have actually, you hit him so hard in many forums, but do you think that he has improved the Kenyan economy based on the data being released by the IMF and the World Bank? And if President Uhuru is listening to you right now, which word or what word do you have for him?
Uhuru Kenyatta is worse than a mess. Uhuru Kenyatta is a criminal. Okay? He's a criminal. Anybody who claims that Uhuru Kenyatta has improved the economy of Kenya is also a fellow criminal. A man who has borrowed over 7 trillion Kenya shillings in the last 4 years, or who claims to have borrowed and has nothing to show for it, deserves lifetime jail. Because we know what 7 trillion can do. We would not have 70% unemployed youth if he has utilized 7 trillion effectively, efficiently, and ethically. So we know for a fact that that kind of money has been stashed or stolen. Secondly, Uhuru Kenyatta's name was probably number 1 or number 2 on the Pandora's box of kleptomaniacs all over the world. People in power who are stashing public resources abroad. He promised that he would deal with this within when he came back from New York, and he has not addressed the issue. Uhuru Kenyatta presided over the worst plunder in Kenya's history. Where is KEMSA money? The billions that have been looted that he promised to address in 21 days after this scandal was exposed. Where did he take the 400 billion for the SGR that goes to his fund? People are dying in Northeastern Province right now, the former Northeastern Province right now as we speak. Animals and human beings are dying of hunger in Wajir, in Mandera, and in the entire Northeastern. When Uhuru Kenyatta is running around politicking, people have been brutalized by the police. Extrajudicial killing is at its worst in Kenya. And Uhuru Kenyatta is presiding over it. Uhuru Kenyatta has refused to appoint members of the judiciary who have been approved for appointment by the JSC. Uhuru Kenyatta is interfering with the judiciary's work. Uhuru Kenyatta has refused to operationalize the judiciary fund. Uhuru Kenyatta tried to dismember our constitution through the BBI. I can go on and on. So anyone who claims, and of course I've not even mentioned the evictions, the brutal, inhumane evictions that has happened all over the country, and the weaponization of the DCI, the police, and the EAC, and the KRA, that we have seen very arbitrary arrests and persecutions. So this is not somebody that anyone should be speaking about. And the IMF has not approved Uhuru Kenyatta's tragic record, nor has the World Bank, nor has any credible organization done that. Anybody who claims that is a criminal just like Uhuru Kenyatta.
Thank you very much, Dr. Miguna. We appreciate your time, and we appreciate having some time for us today. And as we have promised our viewers, we'll definitely be bringing you every week, God willing, so that you can be. Oh yeah, Dr. Miguna, what do you say about that?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so, Ben.
There we go. We'll definitely be bringing you every week. Yeah, in a panel discussion.
Thanks for inviting me. Thanks a lot for inviting me, and I thank Kenyans for listening. I
appreciate that. So on Sunday we are having having a gubernatorial candidate, Professor Sam Ongeri, on this particular show. We hope our viewers will get time again to listen to what Professor Ongeri has in stake for Kisii County. As we also are waiting a response from Simbarati also to come to this platform and sell his agenda to the people in Kisii County. We also are planning to have Engineer Gumbo from Siaya also to come and sell his agenda on this particular platform, and many more people. And then we'll be bringing Dr. Miguna to analyze a few areas in governance and in law. So till next time, we thank you, our viewers. But again, if you've not subscribed, if you've not followed KDR TV, please click on that particular link there so that when we get great guests like Dr. Miguna, you can be notified as soon as possible we start our interviews. And again, once more, thank you very much, Dr. Miguna, for having this particular time to come and talk to Kenyans. We appreciate your time once again. Till next time, God bless you.
How is your year 2022 coming along? Are you probably stuck on how to start off your home ownership journey? Kwamua maono yako na Optiven. Get a piece of land at the Great Oasis Gardens Nanyuki and establish your dream home, a holiday home, an entertainment park, home for sale or for rental, or even build a high-end private school. The Great Oasis Gardens Nanyuki is perfectly situated next to the equator, right opposite Mount Kenya Holiday Homes, and is only 11 minutes from the Cedar Mall Nanyuki. Get your quarter acre, half acre, 1 acre, 5 acres and beyond. Deposit or place an installment of 590k on any of Optiven's projects and get an instant 15k cashback. Call us on 0790 300 300. Kwa mua maono yako na Optiven.